My name is Christine Sapio, and for the last 13 years, I've been the proud coach of the Coconut's FIRST Robotics team from Coconino High School. Now, everyone in Flagstaff knows who the Coconuts are. You see the robots, the bright red shirts, the crowds of kids wherever we go, but I'm here to tell you the true story of the Coconuts and the reason why I keep coming back to put so much time into the Coconuts year after year. It all started with the two most terrifying words I have ever heard in my entire life. Hey, Christine. That would be my student teaching mentor and soon-to-be co-coach, Dave Thompson, wandering into my classroom and asking, would I like to check out this robot thing? Little did I know that those two words would change my life and change so many others for the better. So we started our robotics team with 8 freshman boys and 1 sophomore girl, and absolutely zero clue of how to build a robot, let alone a robotics team. We got our first robot kits 2 weeks before the competition. Meet RoboPup. This little robot refused to move until 2 o'clock in the morning of the competition. We went down to Phoenix, sent the kids into the judging room with the sage advice, just don't embarrass yourselves, guys. And just kind of hope for the best. We really didn't have any expectations for how well we were going to do in the competition. The robot did pretty good, but we really didn't have any expectations of going on beyond that until they got to the awards ceremony. And they got to the awards ceremony, and they announced the highest award at the competition. And it went a little something like this. This team was inspired by a squirrel named Rocky. And we looked at each other and went, no way. Yes way. After only 2 weeks with the robot, the Coconuts had just earned their spot at their first world championship. So we worked hard getting ready for it. And by worked hard, I mean we didn't do anything to the robot at all. After all, we had just won Arizona. So we were top of our game. Let's go to Worlds. Well, we learned real fast that that wasn't to be the case. We burned out every single one of our motors on our very first match, and the robot didn't move for the rest of the competition. Absolutely spanked, 99th out of 100 teams. Now, this could have gone one of two ways. The kids could have been devastated, but instead, they looked around them and really soaked in the experience. And they learned that FIRST was about a lot more than just the robots. They learned that FIRST can really start to make an impact on people's lives. And they learned that robots, while cool, and while kids build robots, robots actually build so much more. They learned that robots can build expertise, robots can build passion, and robots can build community. And so they set out to go and build these things while they were building their robots. So I'm going to tell you some stories about some of our alumnuts and how they've actually changed their course while they were part of the Coconuts. Let's start with expertise. The first thing everyone sees is the machine, but the students behind the machine are really pretty amazing. Meet Kalen. Kalen was really pretty quiet. He came onto the team not really knowing what it was he wanted to do. He shadowed our head programmer at first and started to get into it a little bit more. By the time he was a senior, he was our head programmer. And he'd also learned a lot about manufacturing and design. This robot that you see is one that Kalen helped design with his teammates using the manufacturing lab we have at Coconino High School. Kalen also upped his game with the programming, learning some sensors and some gyros and accelerometers to help the robot guide itself around the field. This is that robot in action at the Arizona Regional. Watch how maneuverable it is and how sleek it is, even though it's throwing a ball that's over 3 feet in diameter. Kalen had a lot of expertise by the time he left the team. In fact, we changed his name from just Kalen to Kalen Fix-It, because he was our go-to guy whenever something would break on the robot. Kalen graduated and he went to Arizona State University, and he found out that they had a manufacturing lab. He was told at first that freshmen weren't allowed even in the manufacturing lab, but after demonstrating his expertise on some of the machines, he was actually offered a job in the lab and was actually working with some of the upper level students and teaching them how to use the machinery. This is Logan. Logan is really a jack of all trades. Logan does it all. He does programming, he does presentations, and he works really well with younger students. Logan had a couple of projects that really blew my mind over the last couple of years he was on the team. One year, he came up with a system for scouting that would predict what other robots could do, based on some of the data that was being pulled from the matches. Let me say that again. He created a program that would make predictions based on data. In layman's terms, that's artificial intelligence. And he actually designed this program himself. He called her Genesis. Yes, it had a name. Kaylin's senior year, he had the chance to work with the robot and work on some vision tracking programs. With the help of several of our coconuts that had just recently graduated, he developed a tracking system that would allow the robot to actually not only determine how fast the ball needed to go, but at what angle the turret needed to be at, so that no matter where the robot was on the field, it could calculate how fast the ball needed to be fired and at what angle, all by itself. This is one of the amazing ways that robots build expertise. Now, the secret of this is that the robot is the hook. The robot is what gets kids involved and gets the kids excited. But it's the skills that they develop while trying to build this machine that are so impressive. Full disclosure, I have absolutely no idea how to do any of the things that I just described to you. I'm not the one that taught these students how to do this. They teach each other how to do this. One of the things that we really do on the team that is so impressive is our older students mentor the younger students and teach them everything that they know. And many of them come back as mentors. So to all you alumnuts out there that are still working with the team in CAD and manufacturing and programming, thank you, because you're helping to build the next generation of expert coconuts. Let's talk about how robots build passion. Passion is not only the desire to do something exciting, but also the desire to go and help others. This is Maddie. She's best known as that one sophomore girl and a founding member of the Coconuts. And it's a good thing, too, because Maddie's leadership ability allowed her to keep those goofy freshman boys in line when necessary. Now, Maddie came to us at a time in her life when she really needed a place to belong. She found in the Coconuts not just a place to build robots, but also a home away from home and a family that really cared about her when she really needed something, just like that. Maddie had the right mix of mechanical prowess and leadership. When Maddie went to World Championship with that first group of coconuts, she and a few others were the ones that really saw that this had the power to change lives. Not just to have kids build a robot, but to really start to develop community and really start to develop the opportunity for other students to become part of these robotics teams. Maddie was one of the key students that stepped up and said, we need to start new teams in our community, and we need to help them out. We need to train their coaches, and we need to mentor those teams so that someday they might decide they want to be coconuts too. This is Philly. Philly has one of the most magnetic and infectious smiles I've ever seen. He's warm, and he's compassionate, and he's joyful. But he also had a lot of barriers in his life. Philly had to work while he was in high school. And so he had to balance work, high school, and being on the robotics team all at once. Philly's passion really developed around being a role model for younger students, and more specifically, being a role model for students like him who maybe come from bilingual homes or maybe come from places where they too had barriers. Philly was really passionate about spreading that message and revealing that this opportunity should be available to all. This is a picture of Philly presenting at the National Science Teachers Association convention down in Phoenix. Philly's passion really came from knowing that everyone deserves this opportunity. Let's talk about how robots build community. Now, in Flagstaff, robots are a celebration, but robots can also develop community within the teams themselves. This is Destiny. Destiny joined the team in her sophomore year because she had to transfer schools that year. She was really, really shy, really, really quiet, and very reserved. So she was really hesitant to jump in at first. We encouraged Destiny to kind of start working with some of the younger students. She played a key role in helping out with our camp that we ran during the summer, Camp Coconuts. And her quiet patience really resonated with a lot of the students. Seeing how those younger students responded to her really helped build Destiny's confidence. By the time she graduated from the team, she was presenting for a lot of different organizations. This is Destiny presenting to the American Association of University Women about how her team has impacted her and their community. This is Bailey. Bailey's only about 5 feet tall. She's an accomplished ballet dancer, which gives her a lot of drive and a lot of competitive spirit, but she's only half the size of the rest of the drive team. Bailey's famous on the Coconuts for this climb right here, in which she completely mangled our climbing mechanism in an effort to score the triple climb at the last minute. Completely mangled the climbing system, but she was able to pull it off. Bailey was small, but she was fierce. But she was also driven to serve others. Bailey's real love while she was on the Coconuts was working with teachers and training them to be robotics coaches. She developed a great relationship with the coaches of the brand new 4-H teams here in town, and at one point was mentoring 4 teams at the same time. Bailey had a love and a passion for serving others, and she helped take the lead on several different service projects that we did as a team, including putting care packages together for soldiers who were spending the holidays overseas. So, one of the things that you might be saying to yourself is, well, these kids are extraordinary, so maybe their story isn't necessarily one that I could see in myself. But one of the things that I want you to know is, each and every one of these Coconuts started out as rookies. And because of the mentorship that they had from their older peers and their alumnuts that came before them, they too had the opportunity to develop that expertise, that passion, and grow into their community. I asked the current Coconuts what they would like Flagstaff to know about who they are. And this is what they said: that they are serving as role models to younger students, that they are a diverse, eclectic, and sometimes random family that gets together, yes, to build robots, but really what they see is that their generosity shines through. So our Coconuts want you to know that they come from all different backgrounds, and that together they all are more than the sum of their parts. They are united in their mission to not only further their own futures, but also to provide opportunity for others. Above all else, the Coconuts told me that they want you to know that they inspire hope. Hope for their own futures and hope for the people that they meet as they go forward. And let's face it, what the world could use a lot more of right now is hope. So together as a team, the Coconuts have accomplished some pretty amazing things. I got to turn the tables a little bit a couple years after we started the Coconuts. And I got to go up to my mentor and say, hey, Dave, FIRST is called, and they want us to run the FIRST Tech Challenge program for Arizona. The Coconuts actually run an entire robotics program for the state of Arizona. When they took it over, it was ready to die. Now there's over 80 teams throughout the state. The Coconuts are willing to go to the distance. They are willing to go to any lengths to support teams, to support communities, and to support tournaments. Sometimes that means meeting us at the school at 5 a.m. to go run a tournament, and sometimes that means driving for hours to remote locations, like helping a rookie team up at Navajo Mountain. The Coconuts also love to stand up for what they believe in. This is the most recent group of Coconuts that presented down at the Arizona legislature about the power of this program to change lives and why it should be in every school in our state. This is one of 5 different occasions that they've presented to the Arizona legislature. This most recent time to the Arizona Senate Education Committee. The Coconuts have also built themselves a strong place in our STEM city. When you think of STEM, one of the first things you think of are those bright red shirts and that robot. And they've become a part of Flagstaff's lunar legacy. We were asked to help celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Apollo moon landing and Flagstaff's lunar legacy by building a replica lunar rover that we could take to different outreach events, especially the Flagstaff Festival of Science. In addition to that, the Coconuts welcome teams from all across the globe to Flagstaff to have them test their robots where NASA once tested theirs. And our commitment to serving our community continues. When the world shut down because of a global pandemic, FIRST teams from around the world rallied to help their communities out. In collaboration with a team from Minnesota, the Coconuts 3D printed headbands for over 500 face shields and donated them to Tuba City Medical Center to help out that medical staff in a place that really needed it. So for those of you who like statistics, here's some about the Coconuts. Their dedication is indescribable. In fact, during the time that we've had the Coconuts, they have spent over 5.5 years running tournaments, supporting teams, and working in their community. And they've traveled over 2.5 times around the globe to help teams out from the far reaches of Arizona, sometimes all the way into New Mexico. So what happened to those alumni? Kalen graduated from Arizona State University with his Bachelor of Science in Software Engineering and is now an engineer for Garmin. He continues to be Kalen Fixit at FIRST events. Logan is studying at Grand Canyon University in computer programming. Maddie graduated from Worcester Polytechnic Institute with a degree in robotics engineering and just received her master's degree in aerospace engineering with an emphasis in controls. She got to share her experience for hundreds of sponsors and volunteers at the FIRST World Championship and is now working for Ball Aerospace in satellites. Philly received a Doran Scholarship for first-generation college students and graduated from the U of A with a degree in chemical engineering. He's now working in Long Beach, California for McCormick Foods as a process engineer, which includes manufacturing, and he continues to be an active volunteer in his community. Destiny also received a Doran Scholarship and attended NAU for her undergraduate work. She's now at the University of Oklahoma earning her PhD in biochemistry and molecular biology. Bailey is combining her love of art and science in Judson University near Chicago and pursuing a master's program in architecture. I wish I had time to talk to you about each and every one of my Coconuts, because each and every one of them has grown in such a way and touched my heart and changed my life in such a way. Because the moral of the story and the thing that you should take away most from this is that robots build opportunity. Opportunity to go to universities with scholarships that maybe you couldn't have dreamed of before. Opportunities to pursue careers that you didn't know existed. In fact, FIRST actually offers over $80 million in college scholarships for students that graduate from this program. If you look at our Coconuts who have graduated, or our alumnuts, over 90% of them choose to pursue STEM careers. But more importantly, almost 1/3 of them are the first in their family to go to college. These are some of the many fields that our Coconuts have studied. It's eclectic and diverse, just like the students are, and it's pretty cool to see what they're doing as they graduate. I've been in touch with quite a few of our alumnuts recently. I have a young lady who just got an internship at NASA. I have a young gentleman who's actually working as a lead volunteer for running the FIRST LEGO League program here in Arizona and serving as a key volunteer for the FIRST Tech Challenge Planning Committee. I could go on and on about our alumnuts. So many of them choose to come back and mentor their team and continue to volunteer at events because they see that it has the power to change lives. So while the Flagstaff community sees the robots and the red shirts, this is what I see. I see a group of driven, enthusiastic, yes, goofy, young people that are looking to change their futures for the better and trying to do the same for their community. I hope that this has inspired you to look into possibly starting a FIRST team at your school and possibly maybe someday becoming a coconut yourself. You see, the opportunity begins as young as age 4. So if you can imagine starting this when you're 4 years old, imagine how amazing your experience will be by the time you get to high school. And the last thing I'd like to do is recognize that the Coconuts couldn't do this without the support of their sponsors and the community. Without Flagstaff support, without the support of our city, without the support of our school district and our business sponsors, none of this would have ever happened. So from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of the Coconuts, thank you.